I'd been dating Kira for 3 months, and in that time, we'd barely left my apartment. Not because I was ashamed, God, no, but because taking your shape-shifting fox-woman girlfriend out in public required military-level planning. Are you sure about this? Kira asked, adjusting the oversized hoodie that concealed her rust-colored ears. Her amber eyes gleamed with excitement and nervousness as she tucked her magnificent tail, easily 3 feet of thick, luxurious fur, into specially modified jeans I'd bought online from a cosplay store. Completely sure, I said, though my hands trembled as I checked her disguise for the 5th time. You've been cooped up here for weeks. You deserve a normal date. She pressed herself against me, and I felt her warmth through my shirt. Nothing about us is normal, Owen, she whispered, her breath hot against my neck. That's what makes it perfect. I pulled her closer, my fingers threading through her human hair, which still carried that wild, woodsy scent I'd grown addicted to. You're perfect, I corrected, tilting her chin up to kiss her. Her lips were soft, but I could feel the hint of sharpness in her canines, a reminder of what she really was. The kiss deepened, and for a moment, I forgot about our plans entirely. Kira had that effect on me. Her hands slid under my shirt, nails just slightly too sharp as they traced patterns on my back. A low, rumbling sound, almost like a purr, vibrated in her throat. If you keep that up, I breathed against her mouth, we're never leaving this apartment. She pulled back with a mischievous grin, her eyes glinting with that predatory spark that both thrilled and terrified me. Then I guess I should behave, for now. 2 hours later, we stood at the entrance of Riverside Mall, the largest shopping center in the city. Saturday afternoon meant maximum crowds, which I'd hoped would help us blend in. Kira's tail was secured, her ears hidden, and I'd even convinced her to wear sunglasses to dim the unnatural glow of her eyes. Ready? I asked, squeezing her hand. She squeezed back, hard enough that I felt her inhuman strength. Ready. The first 30 minutes went smoothly. We window shopped, grabbed coffee, and Kira marveled at everything with childlike wonder. She'd lived in the forest for most of her life, and human civilization still fascinated her. Watching her discover simple pleasures, the taste of a chocolate croissant, the feeling of escalator stairs beneath her feet, made my heart swell. I should have known it was too good to last. As we approached the central plaza, I heard the first notes of music. A street performer had set up near the fountain, playing an upbeat folk tune on a fiddle. I felt Kira tense beside me. Owen, she whispered, her voice strained. We should go. But it was already too late. The music hit Kira like a physical force. Her whole body went rigid, and I watched in horror as her pupils dilated, swallowing the amber of her irises until her eyes were nearly black. Kira, no, I started, but she'd already slipped from my grasp. What happened next would haunt me for the rest of my life, and become the most viral video on social media that week. Kira stepped into the center of the plaza and began to dance. But this wasn't human dancing. Her movements were wild, primal, a combination of grace and chaos that defied physics. She spun on one foot, arms extended, head thrown back in pure ecstasy. Her hoodie slipped, revealing one pointed ear that twitched in time with the music. Oh God, I muttered, frozen in place as shoppers began to stop and stare. Then she howled. It started as a laugh but transformed into something between a yip and a cry, a sound no human throat could make. The musician, either incredibly brave or incredibly stupid, played faster. Kira responded, her movements becoming more frenzied. She leaped impossibly high, tucked into a spin, and landed in a crouch that showed far too much animalistic instinct. The crowd was growing. Phones appeared from everywhere, recording every second. Someone shouted, "Is this a flash mob?" Another person called out, "That's the best furry cosplay I've ever seen." If only they knew. I forced my legs to move, pushing through the gathering spectators. Kira. I hissed urgently. Kira, people are watching. She whirled to face me, and my breath caught. Her face was flushed with joy, lips pulled back in a grin that showed too many teeth. In that moment, she was entirely fox, predatory, wild, and absolutely magnificent. "Dance with me," she commanded, and before I could protest, she grabbed my hands and yanked me into the chaos. "Kira, your tail," I tried to warn her, but she was already pulling me into a spin. The crowd cheered. I stumbled over my own feet, completely out of my depth. Kira, meanwhile, moved like water, like wind, like nothing human ever could. She pressed against me, her body impossibly warm, and forced me to follow her lead. "Let go, Owen," she whispered in my ear, her voice dropping to that throaty purr that made my knees weak. "Just feel it." And God help me, I tried. I let her guide me, spinning and swaying. The crowd blurred around us. For a moment, there was only Kira, the scent of her, the heat of her, the wild joy radiating from every pore. Then I felt it. Her tail had come loose. The thick, bushy appendage swished freely behind her, brushing against startled onlookers. I saw one woman's eyes widen in shock as she touched it, clearly expecting cheap fabric and finding warm, living fur instead. This was it. We were exposed. The music ended with a flourish, and Kira bowed deeply, her tail curling elegantly behind her. The crowd erupted in applause and whistles. I stood frozen, my face burning hot enough to cook eggs on, while dozens of phones remained pointed in our direction. "That was amazing," someone shouted. "Where did you get that tail mechanism?" another person called out. "It looks so real." A teenage girl pushed forward, eyes sparkling. "Are you guys performers? Is this for a show?" Kira beamed, soaking up the attention like a cat in a sunbeam. "Just spreading joy," she announced with a theatrical gesture. Then, to my absolute horror, she grabbed my face and kissed me hard in front of everyone. The crowd went wild. Her lips were demanding, possessive, and I could feel the slight prick of her fangs against my lower lip. When she finally pulled back, I was dizzy and more than a little aroused despite the very public setting. "Come on," I growled in her ear, grabbing her hand and pulling her through the dispersing crowd. "We need to leave. Now." We practically ran through the mall, Kira laughing breathlessly the entire way. Her tail, now impossible to hide, swished behind her like a banner. Surprisingly, most people seemed to assume it was an incredibly well-made costume piece. A few kids even asked to pet it, which Kira allowed with regal grace. By the time we reached my car in the parking garage, I was equal parts mortified and exhilarated. The moment we were inside with the doors locked, I turned to her. "That was amazing," she interrupted, eyes glowing in the dim light. "Liberating? The most fun you've had in years?" "Insane," I finished, but I was smiling despite myself. "You're absolutely insane. And you love it," she countered, climbing over the center console to straddle me in the driver's seat. Her tail wrapped around my waist, soft and warm. "Admit it, Owen. You loved every second." I opened my mouth to deny it, but the words wouldn't come. Because she was right. Watching her dance with such abandon, seeing her genuinely happy and free, it had been incredible. Terrifying, yes, but incredible. "You're going to be all over social media," I said instead, my hands settling on her hips. "People are going to recognize you." "Good." She rolled her hips against me, and I sucked in a sharp breath. "Let them wonder. Let them talk. I'm tired of hiding, Owen. I'm tired of pretending to be less than I am." Her words struck something deep in my chest. How many times had I dimmed my own light to fit in, to avoid judgment? And here was Kira, this magnificent creature, refusing to be anything but wholly herself. "You're right," I admitted quietly. "You're absolutely right." She kissed me again, softer this time. "Take me home." The drive back to my apartment was charged with electricity. Kira kept her hand on my thigh, occasionally sliding higher until I had to gently push her away to focus on the road. She'd laugh that musical, slightly feral laugh and do it again minutes later. Patience, I told her, though my own restraint was wearing thin. Patience is for humans, she teased, leaning over to nip at my earlobe. I'm a fox, remember? We barely made it through the door before she pounced. One moment I was turning the lock, the next I was pressed against the wall with Kira's body flush against mine, her mouth hot and insistent on my neck. You have no idea, she breathed between kisses, how hard it was not to claim you right there in that plaza. In front of everyone. To show them you're mine. The possessiveness in her voice sent heat cooling in my belly. I am yours, I managed, my hands finding the hem of her hoodie and pulling it up. Just yours. She helped me remove the garment, and I took a moment to appreciate her fully. Without the baggy clothes, her form was lean and athletic, every muscle defined. Her ears, now free, twitched and swiveled with every sound. Her tail swept back and forth in agitation. And I'm yours, she whispered, something vulnerable flickering in her eyes. You know that, right? Foxes mate for life, Owen. When I chose you, I chose forever. The weight of her words hit me. Forever. With Kira, that could mean something very different from a normal human relationship. She was something more, something timeless. Forever, I echoed, pulling her close. I can work with forever. We moved to the bedroom in a tangle of limbs and shed clothing. She was beautiful in the afternoon light streaming through the windows, otherworldly and perfect. Her skin seemed to glow, and that rust-colored fur on her ears and tail shimmered like copper. You're staring, she observed, stretched out on the bed with feline grace. Can you blame me? I joined her, trailing my fingers down her side, feeling how she shivered under my touch. You're extraordinary. She pulled me down to her, and this time when we kissed, it was slow and deep, full of promise. Her hands explored my body with the same enthusiasm she'd shown for them all, curious, delighted, thoroughly engaged with every discovery. I love how you feel, she murmured against my skin. How you taste. How your heart races when I touch you here, her hand slid lower, or here. I groaned, rolling us over so she was beneath me. You're going to be the death of me. What a way to go, she grinned, pulling me down into her warmth. Outside, the world continued turning, probably still buzzing about the strange dancing girl with the realistic tail. But in that moment, nothing else mattered except us. Later, as we lay tangled together in the sheets, Kira traced lazy patterns on my chest with one finger. Her tail was draped over both of us like a blanket, impossibly soft and warm. Check your phone, she said suddenly. I groaned. Do I have to? Yes. I want to see our debut. Reluctantly, I reached for my phone on the nightstand. The moment I opened social media, my jaw dropped. We were everywhere. Fox Girl's amazing dance stuns mall shoppers, read one headline. The video had already racked up 3 million views. The comments were a mixture of amazement, speculation, and debate. Best cosplay ever. That tail moves so realistically. What kind of animatronics? This is obviously staged, but I don't even care, it's beautiful. Anyone know who these people are? I want to see more. I scrolled through dozens of similar posts, my face growing hotter with each one. Then Kira snatched the phone from me. Look at this one, she said, turning the screen to show me. It was a video compilation of our dance set to dramatic music, edited to make it look even more magical than it had been. We're art, Owen. We're inspiration. We're insane, I corrected, but I was smiling. She set the phone aside and climbed on top of me, straddling my hips with that predatory grin I'd come to adore. Maybe. But are you happy? I thought about it. Really thought about it. Before Kira, my life had been safe, predictable, boring. I'd followed all the rules, kept my head down, never made waves. And I'd been miserable without even realizing it. Now. Now I was dating a fox woman who danced in public and made me viral. Who claimed me with the intensity of a wild thing. Who challenged every assumption I'd ever had about what life should look like. Yeah, I admitted, reaching up to cup her face. I'm happy. Happier than I've ever been. Her expression softened into something tender. Good. Because I'm not done embarrassing you yet. I laughed, pulling her down for a kiss. I wouldn't expect anything less. She curled against me, her tail wrapping around us both. Tomorrow, I want to go to that karaoke bar downtown. Absolutely not. The park where they do yoga in the morning. Kira. The beach? I've always wanted to see the ocean. I sighed, running my fingers through her hair. The beach. We can do the beach. Perfect. She nuzzled into my neck, and I felt her smile against my skin. I promise to only partially embarrass you. Somehow, I doubt that. As the evening light faded and we drifted toward sleep, I realized something profound. Kira hadn't just embarrassed me in public, she'd freed something in me I didn't know was trapped. The need to be perfect, to be normal, to fade into the background. With her, I could be messy, chaotic, and wildly, wonderfully alive. And that was worth all the viral videos in the world.